Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the podcast, and welcome to your Monday Night Raw post show, man. And there was a lot of things that happened on last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. We're going to talk about that in today's episode. It seems as if we have finally Brock Lesnar's new opponent, or someone that at least answered Lesnar's open challenge for this year's WrestleMania. We'll talk about that, how I feel about that. We also get the likes of the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, gracing us with his presence last night on Monday Night Raw live from San Antonio, Texas. A little rebuttal back and forth here between CM Punk and Roman Reigns for the past few weeks leading up to their match at WrestleMania. And like I said, man, there's a lot more to talk about when it pertains to last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. So let's start off the night, man. We kick off the night with a bunch of masked assailants entering the ring, including Seth Rollins. Now, this was the first time that we heard from Rollins since basically he was pretty much written off TV and attacked by Braun Breaker and The Vision. Rollins grabs a microphone. Rollins says that he created the Vision and he will be the one that will destroy it. Rollins says that if you stand next to Heyman, consider yourself marked for death. Rollins then talks about attacking Heyman last week. Paul Heyman is here. Rollins then mocks Heyman. Heyman looks a mess. He's got a black eye, busted nose. He looks like he's been up for 72 hours. It looks like he has been going through it, man. It looks like he's going through complete hell. Rollins says that letting Heyman into his inner circle was his worst decision that he has made. Rollins says that he's going to take Heyman out of WWE. Heyman then grabs the microphone. He screams, F-A-F-O. F-A-F-O. F-A-F-5. After that, Lesnar is here. Lesnar comes down to the ring. He attacks the masked assailants. Lesnar and Rollins that are face-to-face in the middle of the ring. And all of a sudden, the lights go out. And all of a sudden, we hear Oba Femi's music. The crowd erupts. They're chanting, Oba, Oba. Oba makes his way out to the ring. Rollins has this sinister smirk on his face. Oba then gets in the ring. Rollins then takes off. Oba and Lesnar then have a stare down in the middle of the ring. Oba then quickly hits a pump-up powerbomb on Lesnar. Oba then points at the WrestleMania sign with basically Oba putting his foot onto Brock Lesnar's chest, pointing at the WrestleMania sign. And it looks like we're going to get Oba Femi versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. We'll talk more about this and how I feel about that at the end of today's episode. Moving on from that, we go into our first official match to kick off Monday Night Raw last night. It is El Grande Americano versus OG Americano. The match itself, I thought, was a good match. It was a back-and-forth matchup between El Grande and OG Americano, with OG Americano keeping the pace of the match. Grande Americano goes for a springboard, but OG Americano counters it with a Northern Lights for a near fall. OG Americano then hits multiple German suplexes in the middle of the ring, followed by a senton off the apron. Grande Americano then hits a Death Valley driver in the middle of the ring for a near fall. OG Americano then applies an ankle lock in the middle of the ring, but the hold is broken. Rayo then was causing a distraction with the referee. OG Americano then attacks Rayo. Bravo then loads the mask of El Grande Americano. OG Americano then goes to the top rope, hits a diving headbutt onto El Grande Americano while he has the metal plate in his mask. OG Americano then hits the headbutt, if you will, onto El Grande, but El Grande then goes for the cover, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match is El Grande Americano. Hats off to El Grande Americano for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we have a Women's Intercontinental title matchup where it is AJ Lee defending the Women's Intercontinental title against Bayley. The match itself, I thought, was a good match. Back and forth matchup between AJ Lee and Bayley, with AJ Lee keeping the pace of the match. AJ hits a standing sliced bread for a near fall. Bayley then hits a running knee for a near fall, followed by a Bayley to belly on AJ Lee for a near fall. AJ and Bayley both exchange in the middle of the ring, with AJ Lee hitting a Shining Wizard on Bayley in the middle of the ring. AJ then applies a Black Widow. Referee sounds for the bell. And your winner of the match, and still Women's Intercontinental Champion, is AJ Lee. After the match, Becky Lynch, when we come back from a commercial, can be seen attacking AJ Lee. Becky then hits AJ with the Women's Intercontinental title, and it looks like Becky Lynch is far from over with AJ Lee. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It was pretty much an open challenge match, if you will. It is Penta defending the Intercontinental title against a mystery opponent. And that mystery opponent is none other than Dragon Lee. To me, this was match of the night, hands down. Back and forth matchup between Penta and Dragon Lee, with Penta keeping the pace of the match. Lee and Penta then both exchange in the middle of the ring, with Lee hitting a running knee on Penta. Dragon Lee then hits a Styles Clash, paying homage to his friend AJ Styles, for a near fall. Penta then hits a Penta driver on Lee in the middle of the ring for a near fall. Lee then dives through the ropes, sends Penta over the announce table. Dragon Lee then hits an Operation Dragon in the middle of the ring for a near fall, but Penta ends up hitting his signature Mexican Destroyer on Dragon Lee in the middle of the ring, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match, and still Intercontinental Champion, is Penta. Hats off to Penta for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night, a little bit of a grudge match here. It is Maxine Dupree from Alpha Academy taking on Natty. The match itself, I thought, was a good match. It was a back-and-forth matchup between both Maxine Dupree and Natty, with Natty keeping the pace of the match. Maxine applies an ankle lock on Natty, but the hold is quickly broken. Natty then applies a sharpshooter on Maxine Dupree. Referee sounds for the bell, and your winner of the match is Natty. Hats off to Natty for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we have Randy Orton. Orton was scheduled to have an interview with Michael Cole. Now, Orton was not in the show. He wasn't at the show last night for Monday Night Raw, but this interview was pretty much via telecast. You can see Michael Cole trying to interview Randy Orton, but Orton was on a phone call. After the phone call, Orton then looks, I guess, at the camera, if you will, and tells Michael Cole that he's not doing this interview. But Orton does say this. He had a conversation with someone that had a brain and made Orton realize who he really is. Orton said that he did what he did because at the end of the day, he's a killer. And Orton then says, before he walks away, that that wrestling has more than one royal family. A little pushing the envelope there with Cody Rhodes, a little mockery, if you will, from the Viper, Randy Orton. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It's Raquel Rodriguez from the Judgment Day taking on Women's World Champion Stephanie Vaquer. The match itself, I thought, was a good match, man. It was a back-and-forth matchup between Raquel and Stephanie, with Raquel keeping the pace of the match. Stephanie Vaquer then hits a Devil's Kiss in the middle of the ring. Liv Morgan was ringside. She was trying to cause a distraction. But Io Sky is here. Io comes out to the ring. Raquel then attacks Io. Vaquer then attacks Liv Morgan. Then Stephanie Vaquer ultimately hits a roll-up on Raquel Rodriguez, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match is Stephanie Vaquer. Hats off to Stephanie Vaquer for getting the win in this matchup. And moving on from that, it was announced by Michael Cole himself that it is official. It will be the Beast, Brock Lesnar, taking on the Ruler, Obafemi, at this year's WrestleMania. Again, we'll talk more about that and how I feel about that at the end of today's episode. And moving on from that, we close out the night with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns comes out to the ring. He asks the San Antonio crowd to acknowledge him. Roman says that this is his show now. Roman then calls out CM Punk. CM Punk is here, but CM Punk is taking his time getting into the ring, kind of playing mind games with Roman Reigns. Roman then says, "Welcome to my ring and welcome to my main event." Punk says that he's not going to call Roman Joe because it would disrespect another Joe that he cares about. Roman says that maybe you should call that Joe, leading up to this matchup at WrestleMania. Punk says that he already won because he's in Roman's head. Roman then mocks Punk. Punk said that Roman is a chicken shit because he didn't show up last week, but instead sent the Usos to talk to CM Punk last week. Punk said that he deserved what happened last week after what he said. But Roman says that Punk says the same shit over and over again. Roman then tells Punk, don't waste my time. And then Roman tries to leave the ring, but Punk stops him. Punk says, my belt, my show. I tell you when you can leave. Obviously, this pissed Roman Reigns off, but Punk says that he's going to beat Roman and split his ego into two at WrestleMania. Roman then says that Punk is delusional. Roman says that he is the tribal chief and he's done everything in this business. Roman then also says that Punk is a tryhard and is making everyone look bad. Roman then calls Punk old. This pissed off CM Punk, and Punk ends up striking Roman Reigns. You can see Reigns kind of laughing it off. Adam Pearce is trying to hold back CM Punk and WWE staff and security. But then Roman then gets up, looks at the camera, and says, you can't say one thing to Punk without him snapping. So who's in whose head now? Some interesting stuff there from Roman Reigns. Couple of things I want to talk about, man. Number one, was Monday Night Raw last night a good show? Absolutely. Absolutely. Raw last night, man, it hit on every single angle, in my honest opinion. Raw was fantastic last night. So, obviously, I want to start with the elephant in the room. Brock Lesnar. Now, this is the second week we saw Lesnar. Obviously, the first week we saw Lesnar come out to the ring with Paul Heyman, pretty much issuing an open challenge. And Lesnar and Paul Heyman were trying to figure out who had the cojones, if you will, to challenge the Beast at WrestleMania with this new open challenge that Lesnar was trying to have for WrestleMania. So we see Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins last night. You can tell Heyman was pissed off. You can tell that he's been drugged through the mud. He's beat the hell up. He's battled and bruised. Scars all over his face. Looks like he hasn't slept in a week. And then, Rollins is kind of mocking Paul Heyman, but then Paul Heyman has the microphone and he is just progressively keeps screaming, F-A-F-O, F-A-F-O. And then finally he says F-A-F-5. And then Brock Lesnar's music hits. He comes out to the ring. He beats the holy hell out of these mass assailants that were surrounding the ring with Seth Rollins. Then Brock gets face-to-face with Rollins. Looks like they were going to have a little conversation, if you will. And then the lights go out. And all of a sudden we hear Obafemi's music hit. And the whole arena went apeshit. Obafemi walks out to the ring. Rollins has this sinister smirk on his face. He ends up leaving the ring with Oba getting into the ring. Lesnar then goes to chase after Rollins, but then Lesnar turns around and is met with Obafemi's pump-up powerbomb where the ruler just decimated the Beast in the middle of the ring. I'm going to give my thought on this, man, and tell you guys how I feel. Number one, thank God. Okay, this was something. And if you guys have been with me as long as you guys have been, for weeks now, bro, for weeks, I've been saying that they need to book this goddamn match. We need the Beast versus the Ruler at WrestleMania. This is a match that the fans have been patiently, damn near salivating for a while now. Since Obafemi has been on the main roster. Hell, since Obafemi and Brock Lesnar had a little face-to-face at the Royal Rumble. This was something that the fans were like, holy shit, this could happen. We could see this matchup possibly coming down the pike with Obafemi being on the main roster. And then when Obafemi came out last night, then it just came more of a realization at that point. Because now Obafemi, I don't think I've ever seen anybody in a very long time beat the shit out of Brock Lesnar the way they did last night. He picked up Brock effortlessly and hit that damn pump-up powerbomb on Lesnar, leaving Lesnar helpless in the middle of the ring. I thought it was an incredible moment. Having Obafemi standing over Brock Lesnar with his foot on his chest, pointing at the WrestleMania sign, say, hey, you got your goddamn challenger. It's me, the Ruler. What better way to set up a match? Now, Lesnar has his opponent. Now Lesnar has the deal with Obafemi. And I'm telling you guys, man, this guy, number one, Obafemi is built like a brick shithouse, number one. Number two, that guy could be a linebacker in any NFL team right now, hands down. The guy is built like a damn brick shithouse. But the thing with Oba that I respect the hell out of, man, Oba comes out to the ring. The fans are chanting, Oba. A lot of similarities to Goldberg, man. Obafemi has this, I don't know, bro. It's hard to describe, but Obafemi has this thing with the crowd, man. And the crowd they're they want to see what Oba's going to do. They're kind of seeing what he's, what's it all about. What's Oba Femi about? Who was Oba Femi? And the fans just kind of walked with him, man. To be honest with you, they want to know what Oba Femi's going to do, and he is a household name already. He is a main event caliber talent. But now, with this matchup, you're talking 3 marquee matchups for this year's WrestleMania with Punk Reigns, Orton Rhodes, and then Oba Femi Brock Lesnar. Take my money. That right there is a triple threat for this year's WrestleMania. Because you got to go back, man. A lot of people were considering that Brock Lesnar was going to face off against LA Knight at WrestleMania. Lesnar would have destroyed LA Knight. I'm glad that match is not happening. And I'm glad that Michael Cole made it official and showed the commercial, if you will, of the marquee of Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi. It is official for WrestleMania. Thank Christ. Because I'm telling you, bro, they would have dropped the fucking ball not booking this matchup. This is a money match to make. Oba Femi versus Lesnar. This match can main event any night, either night 1 or night 2 of WrestleMania, easily. And now with Lesnar having these scheduled dates for the next couple months, or at least this month going into WrestleMania, now we can have build. Now they can do it correctly and have build and have storyline with Brock and Oba. Maybe Brock surprises Oba, hits an F5 on Oba Femi, say, hey, I know you're the new kid on the block, but I've been here for a minute. I'm the beast. I'm Brock Lesnar. Hits an F5, leaves Oba Femi helpless in the middle of the ring. This match between Brock and Oba is going to be a bar burner match, man. This is going to be 2 giants, 2 Goliaths in the middle of the ring, bro. This match is going to be absolutely incredible. Now, with that being said, my premonition of this match should go as followed. Oba Femi needs to get the win and beat the Beast at WrestleMania. Brock needs to put Oba over. Oba Femi is a guy that's going to carry this company for the next 10, 15 years. Hands down. He is the guy. He is the main event. He's the guy. People want to see Oba Femi in the middle of the ring against top talent. And this is right here, this is his moment. This is Oba's moment. This is Oba Femi's WrestleMania debut. It's just hard for me to believe that Oba is going to take an L in his first match at WrestleMania. You can build off this, man. Oba Femi alone could have his own streak at WrestleMania. Oba's the guy. I know some people are like, damn, bro, you're glazing this dude. No, I'm being honest. I've been watching wrestling for a very long time, man. Very long time. And when the talent's there, the talent's there. And Oba Femi's got the talent, man. I have not seen a guy beat the shit out of Lesnar like they did last night. With that pump up, he picked Brock Lesnar up with ease and hit that goddamn pump up power bomb like it was nothing. Ragdoll the hell out of Brock Lesnar. I ain't never seen nobody do that shit, bro. Nobody. I think it shocked everybody last night. This was something that was a holy shit moment. And I'm glad, finally, WWE got off their asses and said, you know what, we're going to give the fans one this year. We're going to give them Oba Femi versus Brock Lesnar. Thank God. Because now, going into WrestleMania, for me personally, as a fan, I'm a hell of a lot more excited now than what I was. Absolutely. Because you have 3 marquee matches right now, and matches to follow. You got, like I said, Punk Reigns, Orton and Rhodes, and now Oba Femi versus Lesnar. You might get maybe the return of Finn Balor as the Demon taking on Dominic Mysterio. Who knows? So, yeah, I was definitely excited about this. The other thing about that, though, with, before Oba Femi came out to the ring and did what he did to Brock Lesnar, the other vocal point in that was Seth Rollins. Here we are about roughly, 4 or 5 weeks away from WrestleMania, and still right now, nobody knows what Seth Rollins is going to be doing for this year's WrestleMania. At first, on paper, looking at the show last night, and Lesnar came out to confront Rollins, I think, I'm not the only one probably thinking this, that, oh my God, we're going to get Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins, and I don't think anybody wants that shit. So that was my first initial thought, like, damn, bro, we're actually going to get Rollins versus Lesnar, which nobody wanted until we saw Oba Femi. But now it does beg the question, is who's going to be Seth Rollins' opponent at WrestleMania? Is Braun Breaker going to be healthy enough to actually show up at WrestleMania, and we're going to have Rollins versus Breaker? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different angles to go into this, too. I mean, this could be something where maybe Breakker is healthy, but maybe they're kind of keeping a close eye on Breakker and waiting for the right moment and then have Breakker attack Rollins, and then we get the match between Rollins and Breakker at WrestleMania. Because the thing of it is, it's a weird situation because, you know, the Usos were on Raw last night. They were talking to Roman. They also had a backstage segment, or if you want to call it that, with LA Knight, where they were talking about division. They were talking about Austin Theory. They were talking about Logan Paul. And then Paul Heyman had told Theory and Logan Paul that, hey, I need you to focus not on Seth Rollins. I need you to focus on the Usos and becoming the tag team champions because it gives us more leverage. It gives us more pull, if you will, on Monday Night Raw. It gives us more control on Monday Night Raw. So that match between the Usos and the Vision, Logan Paul and Austin Theory, is booked for next week's Monday Night Raw, where the belts will be on the line. So, I mean, on paper, I could see on one side of the fence that it could be the Usos, Logan Paul, Austin Theory running it back at WrestleMania for the tag titles. But then that leaves out the likes of LA Knight, and it also leaves out the likes of Seth Rollins. So this is going to be very telling, because there's no way in hell that you're going to have Seth Rollins back from being injured and not put Rollins on the WrestleMania card in some way, some shape or form. It's going to happen. The question is who is it going to be? What match is Rollins going to be in? Is Braun Breaker going to be back healthy enough to have a match with Rollins at WrestleMania? Nobody knows. And roughly we got about 4.5 weeks until we get to WrestleMania. So it's going to be very telling for the next couple weeks how Seth Rollins is going to play out going into WrestleMania. Who's going to be Rollins' opponent? Because you could, I mean, even if you want to look at LA Knight and Seth Rollins with Division, I mean, right now Division are down 2 guys. They got Austin Theory and Logan Paul, where you got the Usos tied to this whole Vision shit. You got LA Knight and now Seth Rollins. Unless, in some way, maybe Paul Heyman's, recruiting more members to Division, which I don't know how the hell that's going to work nor make sense in the 4 weeks or 4.5 weeks we have left to get us to WrestleMania. That's going to make sense. So it is going to be very interesting and very telling to see how, if Seth Rollins is going to have a match at WrestleMania, is LA Knight going to have a match at WrestleMania, how is the Vision going to be booked going into WrestleMania? It's going to be very telling for the next couple of weeks going into this year's WrestleMania. So that was definitely interesting. We saw Natty and Maxine Dupree. Look, I mean, I think Maxine's really coming into her own, but my standpoint with Natty has been the same, and it's going to remain the same. Natty, she's been with the company for a very long time, man. She's been with WWE for quite some time. And I understand she's, trained in a dungeon and under the Hart family. And so I get that. I understand that. To me, at this point now in Natty's career, in my opinion, she's a really good talent. But her career is, I feel like she's at the tail end spin of her career. Natty would be a great coach. She would be a great person to recruit talent, train talent in NXT, train the younger talent. She has the mindset for it. I think she would be better utilized training talent in NXT than being showcased on television, man. The Maxine Dupree and Natty experiment, I'm done with it. I'm absolutely done with it. I am. And Natty, I mean, I think hopefully there's a conversation to be had with Natty saying, hey, because I don't see her being in the main event scene. I just don't. And if she is, I don't really give a shit about it. I just don't. I don't. And I think her heel turn fell flat. If I'm being honest, it fell flat. It came and went, bro. I legitimately don't give a rat's ass about her heel turn. I just don't. Other things happened last night as well. We saw Dragon Lee and Penta, by far match of the night. The other thing I'll say as far as Dragon Lee is concerned is my biggest question mark is where the hell is Gunther? This has been 2 weeks now that we have not seen the likes of Gunther on Monday Night Raw. So I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if he's injured or what. I figured or assumed at least they were going to continue the storyline between him and Dragon Lee, where Rey Mysterio would have got involved. But again, Gunther is another name where right now on paper he doesn't have an opponent going into this year's WrestleMania. Some people are speculating that it could be Rey Mysterio because of the situation between Dragon Lee and Gunther. But right now, nothing has come to fruition. And like I said, we have not seen Gunther now in 2 weeks on Monday Night Raw. So I don't know how that's going to play out. Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor. I'm hoping they do book a match between Finn and Dom at this year's WrestleMania. Maybe we get the return of the Demon, Finn Balor. I mean, Liv Morgan cut that, that promo last night, saying that she always kept an eye on Finn and knew Finn was someone that she couldn't trust, and the Judgment Day had to do their own thing, and they couldn't rely on Finn Balor. So I wouldn't mind seeing the Demon Finn Balor return to face off against Dominic Mysterio. It's a hell of a match to make. But I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to see how it plays out moving forward. I mean, we got roughly about 4.5 weeks until we get to WrestleMania. You know, are they saving Rollins for Breakker? Is that why they're kind of backpedaling right now and pumping the brakes? Because they want to see how Breakker's doing and see if he's going to be medically cleared by the time we get to WrestleMania. So then we get Rollins and Breakker. Again, if that's the case, I'm not against it. I mean, you got 4 top matches alone right there. That would be the case. Rollins, Breakker, Oba, Lesnar, Orton, Rhodes, and Punk and Reigns. I mean, what more can you ask for? It's a solid WrestleMania, if you ask me. But I don't know what they're doing with Rollins. I don't know what they're doing with LA Knight. I don't know what they're doing with the Vision or the Usos. I don't know. Right now, even if you want to look at a tag team situation, the Vision don't have enough names to facilitate getting everybody involved in a tag team matchup. There can't be, an 8-man tag match right now because the Vision only has 2 people, where the other side of the fence, they would have 4. They would have Rollins, Knight, and the Usos. And like I said, unless, Paul Heyman's been on the phone nonstop trying to recruit people from NXT, I just don't see that happening. At first everybody thought Brock Lesnar was going to, face off against Rollins until Obafemi came out. So it leaves Rollins without an opponent right now for WrestleMania. So nobody genuinely knows what the fuck's going on with Rollins. Or the Usos, or the Vision for that matter. You know what I mean? Right now the focus is Lesnar and Obafemi. Paul Heyman had enough of Rollins' shit. He brought out Brock Lesnar, but unfortunately that backfired in Heyman's face because Obafemi came out and beat the shit out of Brock Lesnar. So it backfired in Heyman's face. Things are starting to slowly unravel, if you will, for the Vision. I believe the Vision stable in itself is cursed. Half the damn stable is out with injury. Rollins has been out for so long with injury, that damn stable is cursed. They need to take that out. They need to dismantle that whole faction. I mean, it's just cursed, bro. It is. It is. They got the injury bug like you would not believe. Everybody gets injured on that goddamn stable. And Logan, God forbid, but Theory and Logan Paul are probably, again, the Vision is cursed, bro. I've been saying it. I've been saying it since the jump. It's they're cursed. But at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know, man. I thought Raw last night was very good. Roman and CM Punk, once again, back and forth banner. And, I honestly had to give this one to Roman. I think Roman, he said himself that he thinks that he's in CM Punk's head. He called CM Punk old. This pissed him off. He struck Roman Reigns. But then Roman says, you know what? It's easy to say anything to get under CM Punk's skin, and then look what happens. So who's in whose head now? So, again, the build-up for Punk and Reigns has been absolutely, it's been awesome. It's one of the main intrigue points and one of the most interesting things going into WrestleMania until what happened last night with Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. Now we're finally going to get the Beast versus the Ruler. I'm going to tell you guys now, and I'm going to tell you guys when it gets to WrestleMania. Obafemi needs to get the win over Lesnar, and Obafemi needs to go over in that matchup. Because, again, this is a guy that is going to be the future of this business for the next 10, 15 years. Hands down. He's a crowd favorite. The fans love him. He's immensely over in every single arena that he shows up in and competes in. He is the guy, man. This is going to be a guy that's going to carry WWE on his back for the next 10, 15 years. He is the next big thing in professional wrestling. And I think Brock Lesnar just met that last night. So again, having the Beast versus the Ruler is going to be one hell of a match at this year's WrestleMania, man. But at the end of the day, like I said, Raw was not a bad show. It could have been better, obviously, but it damn sure was not a bad Monday Night Raw. Had a lot of intrigue, more storyline build with Punk and Reigns. Even now, a little bit more storyline from Orton and Rhodes. And now we get the official announcement of Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar making it official last night. And that match will take place at this year's WrestleMania, man. So again, WrestleMania, I don't know, man. It's starting to look actually very interesting this year, man. I was kind of worried. And I told you guys, man, that I don't know if this WrestleMania is going to disappoint a lot of folks. But now with the announcement of Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar, it's definitely something that's going to have a lot of eyeballs onto when that match ends up being on WrestleMania. And we see Obafemi and Brock Lesnar have a stare down in the middle of the ring at this year's WrestleMania. So we got 3 high-profile matches already booked for this year's WrestleMania, man. It's going to be a very interesting WrestleMania this year. But with that being said, though, this is my review of Monday Night Raw. I hope you guys are out there staying safe. Be careful, and remember, stay classic. Peace.